Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences, and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello dear viewer and listener. This is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe, your host of this great show, Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Thanks for supporting us, and please, those who haven't subscribed, let me ask you, if it's you, dear viewer, just hit that subscribe button. We need your support. I have with me in the studio Imelda Morupule. Yes, Imelda Morupule is not a first-time guest. It's her second appearance on Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. And I think the last time you were here was when?
Just over a year ago.
Okay, welcome back.
Thank you.
Just share a little bit about your background. Tell them who you are, for those of you who never watched you before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me, Mr. Mogobe. My name is Imelda Morupule, and I'm a young Botswana woman who comes from Veda. I'm married in Mahalape.
Yes.
Yes, I studied interior design in Botswana at Limco Queen University, and I am also a communications degree holder. I did business management. I have a diploma in business management, and I'm currently running a design studio. It's called House of KUMI. It's based in Gaborone, Botswana. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me what happened since your last appearance. Any exciting activities? Actually, I think it's more than a year. It's about 15 months ago when you were last here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It was during the COVID era.
Yeah.
Well, a lot happened. The business has grown. As I was saying, I ran a business, and it was purely based on interior design. We offered consultation services to government, parastatals, private companies, banks, and individuals. We renovate interiors of buildings, and we also do new buildings as when the building is built. So I was a one-man show at the time. I just started my business in 2019, and now we've grown to a team of about 8 people, and we've covered a lot of projects that we can refer you to see around town as to the design angle we are taking.
Okay. Did your appearance on Mogobe Nuggets help in any way?
I think this is a good platform because a lot of people who love conversation listen to you, and I did have a few people approach me to say, look, this is what I'm doing. I have this small apartment I'm building. I'm doing a warehouse. How can you advise me in terms of designing the space?
Okay.
Yes.
Now, let's define sustainable design. I mean, that's really the subject we're going to discuss. Sustainable design and experiential design. Let's start with sustainable design.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, design, you have design and you have people who want to try out doing things, you see, their field of expertise. Now, in interior design or any kind of design, you have that bubble that is called sustainable design, and there are advantages to this term. So sustainable design, you would call it a cost-saving exercise. You would call it an environmental exercise where you are going green, or you could call it a recycling exercise. You could also say it's in a form of aesthetics, and you could also go the route quality. So sustainable is a big word that you use to break down design to come up with that wow factor, which is futuristic, something that you'd create this year And 20, 30 or 40 down the line, the kids then would say, wow, it's still here, but it was done like 20 or 30 years ago. It hasn't eroded. It hasn't been a sore to our eyes. It's sustainable.
Yeah, the United Nations has a thing called SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Does that feature anywhere in your thinking?
That's where I'm driving my design processes to like include the SSD program and their processes into all of our designs going forward.
Okay. And in that context, what design, can you give an example of a design you did which is sustainable, maybe versus the ordinary design?
Yeah. A sustainable design, when we see it in boards or decisions where buildings are being made, for example, this building here, the Ministry of Defense, the exterior materials, we know that when you use paint at our homes, after 10 years, there is corrosion. And also, with the quality of manufacturing, we don't know who's manufacturing our local paints, what processes of safety there are in terms of the material they're using. Is it toxic to the environment or what? So both in the making of the paint towards the health of the people, and then the actual quality of the paint, when you look at it, will it last? That's the angle we want to be taking. So we advise during projects to say that if you take this route, what are the advantages of using these materials? And if you take this route, what are the disadvantages? And looking at budget and cost, including all of that, but long term as well. So that's where sustainable design comes in.
Okay. Now there's also a thing called experiential design. Can we define that one?
Well, experiential design for me is more exciting. I like now to create spaces, events, or just anything for the business or company. For an example would be, if you allow me to mention, just a new company that occupied space in your building recently. That's how I met them, through you.
Yes.
Your office, called and they said we have a new client. So I did their interior design, but because they were also a new company in setting up, I guide them as to how they should make noise or teach people about their offerings. So they are called Drones for Africa.
Yes.
We did the interior design, and beyond that, I'm advising them on their launch programs that they can hold to build brand and bring in profits, and just their daily activities, or monthly or quarterly. We create experiences around their brand to grow it, make profits, and let people know about their presence. So that's what I call experiential design. It's almost like branding, but it's project based. Yes.
Now, is it a trend that is coming up, or has it been like this historically?
I think naturally it should be a trend, because these days people live from one event to the other. And if you are not seen at events or networking, we don't recognize you. So every business, I think it would be wise for you to put your foot in the door. Make sure that you are seen, make sure that you are heard, and be an authority. And you can do that by also making noise in however way you feel comfortable with. Okay. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Limconqueen. You being a former scholar of Limconqueen, they've put themselves as a institution that really is big on design and on especially technological type of design. In what way has your experience, or the fact that you come from there, catapulted you or helped you in what you are doing now?
I think Limconqueen should be brought back. I was one of the first.
Has it been brought back? Is it? What happened to it?
I'm not too sure, but I think it's dying down.
It's
they
a bit
are no
quiet.
longer taking about the amount of students they should be taking, and there's been a lot of retrenchments. I don't know the details, but behind the scenes, it hurts. to know what the school can produce, and then with what's happening to it right now, I think people who can should...
Because the founder passed away some time ago.
Yes. The founder passed on. We don't know what's happening with management right now, but what Limco Queen did for me is out of this world. Botswana didn't know anything about construction in this regard. We had architects, and they did the basics. We can see our clinics, our schools, and just our offices, government offices in general, that it's something that's basic. But for the past 10 to 15 years, 20, interior design slowly crept in because the government did sponsor some students to go to US, what is this place where? Malaysia,
yes. But
now we had Limco Queen as
UK and Malaysia.
Yes. Those were the students who you'd see interior design very quietly popping here and there. But now when Limco Queen actually came into the country to have a campus here, it exploded. And we are the first fruits of that explosion.
Yeah.
So with us probing and sustainability, experiential, seeing us here and there, it's a plus for the country. I think that book shouldn't be closed. A task force should be put onto it, because since we graduated, I don't know how many groups have graduated, especially with interior design, but there's going to be a gap. If Imelda goes away, who's going to be taking up that space? So we need kids coming from the bottom, being taught. Even from primary, I only heard about interior design when I was choosing a course. I didn't know about it before then. So my plea is that it should be known by a child in kindergarten to say that, yes, I can grow up to be an interior designer.
Yeah. All right. Now, coming to the practicalities, can you just walk into an environment or an office and tell immediately whether somebody with your skills has been there, and tell immediately whether there are gaps that need to be attended by someone of your expertise?
Yes, it's just like a dentist. As soon as you open your mouth, they see the problem. So when I walk in, because I've been taught a good space, number one, it needs this and this. So the first 3 items, if I don't see them, even the lay person who walks in can tell you that office is not nice. Yes.
Okay. Any other major projects you're working on now, without necessarily mentioning names, that you want to share?
Yes, currently I'm working on proposals. Clients who have been in the business for a while, maybe renting an office, Commerce Park, Broadest, and now they've grown to want to buy a building like this one and renovate it from scratch, like break down all the walls. We are dealing with such clients at the moment. Also residential clients. Some are already at finishing stages of the house. Different stages they call us to come and assist, and we advise as needed.
Okay. No particular big projects you can think of?
Not.
Is this particular one where you say they're demolishing a structure?
A building like this, demolishing brick walls to have new reticulation, and then a few retail shops, salons, and clinics here and there.
Okay. Any setbacks, any challenges of significant nature that you want to share?
Concerning the industry or just our country?
Yes, industry. Or both. Feel free.
Well, now Botswana is growing, so if you don't know people, you don't get business. So as we move, really, Botswana, you now see the importance of networking. You can't be sitting at home or in your shell thinking that business will come to you just because you registered at SIPA. You really need to go out, knock on doors, and find ways of bringing in the business. Otherwise, you remain the SMME that you are.
So, is that a setback? Or I was asking if you know if you want to share any setbacks or.
The setback is I did that for a long time, and it's where the business.
Where you're just sitting in the office waiting for.
And also being shy or afraid to say, if I go up to Mr. Mogobe, having that conversation in my head and not actually doing it to get results. If I go to him, because he doesn't know me, I might not get business or referrals from him. So I just needed to get out of my head and into action. And I've started doing this earlier this year, and it's proving to be good. So I'm hoping for some good results compared to the other years.
Okay. I don't know if I asked you this question last time when you were here. What sets you apart from the rest? What differentiates you from the other interior designers out there?
Yes. Well, personally for me, and my clients who I deal with can testify, I will not design a space not knowing who I'm designing it for. I like sitting down with my client, the end user of the space. So if you tell me, Imelda, I'm building it, we are renovating our office, I want to speak to the receptionist, I want to speak to the lady who cleans, who manages the kitchen at the back. I want to hear from them how they work, how they want to fit in their workspace, and I take that feedback and I put it into the space so that at the end of the day, when I'm gone, you are not around, the person is able to enjoy their work they've been provided for, and there's no like baspendile madi mi harnang kwano thing. So my client needs always direct my designs.
Okay. So you go beyond just taking the brief from the client.
Yes. Because I deal with experiential designs. My final feedback, I need to hear that this is the mood I wanted, this is the experience I wanted, and you just gave that to me. Yes.
Okay. I happen to be a member of JCI in the sense that I'm a patron, and I know that we met recently. You are part of them. What's your involvement with Junior Chamber International?
Well, they have in the previous times invited me to be a consulting presenter, talking about sustainability issues, teaching about interior design, and so on and so forth. And lately, I'm also being coerced to be a member. I'm interested, of course, because it deals with the youth. So I will be joining them soon.
Okay. Because I saw you at the annual event recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
The president had invited me.
Okay. Advising other entrepreneurs, how important is it to be part of such organizations?
Well, in our expertise field, we are authorities, and they, as an organization, they deal with various fields. So it's important for you to bring in that specialized knowledge. They do a lot of events, consultations, debates, and so forth. Having people with knowledge in certain areas just is a plus to them and to you. Teaching other people allows you to research more, to also hear what they need. They have been thinking or understanding and directing them in the proper paths. And we have a board here, and people who are in different disciplines, when they go back to their areas also, it means that you've influenced the way they're thinking and just the drive of our communities and social matters at large.
Okay. Speaking of communities back home, you said you are from Veda.
Yes, sir.
Are you doing anything for that community? Are you giving them back anything there?
My wish, the last time I was there, I went to my primary school. They don't have a proper, what do you call it, staff room. It's still the old small block that I left when I was there. That's more than 20 years ago. So my wish was to find ways of getting them a new block. That's the project I want to do in my village right now. I have another project with my PAGC sisters. Who
are those?
The Pan-African Game Changers.
Okay, with Magondo and others.
Yes, with Magondo and others. So last year we adopted a school called Mogobe CJSS. The school, amongst others, still has a pit latrine and only 4 toilets for the whole school. So imagine the girls experiencing their monthly periods, having to use pit latrine and there's only 2 toilets. It's not a good sight to see. So we're also lobbying partners to come and be on us on this project to provide them with flush toilets, and they need a hall, they need a carport. So it's a lot of things, but if we can start somewhere, especially with the health issue of the ablutions, it could be great to have someone assist us with that.
Okay. Because the priority has to be health.
Yes. Health is always first. Those are our future leaders and someone's only child. So you can't have them go to school and then from school they get a disease and they die. What are we saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
You are the patron of Bonington Community Junior Secondary School. What does it mean to be a patron?
A patron is just a parent that is able to knock on doors for issues that are pertaining to the school. For example, when there are children need career fairs, when they need experts to come through, when we need funding for certain gadgets, computers, or anything. Another project I'm working on with Bonington is their weather station. They used to read weather, collect temperatures and rain. Now it's dilapidated.
Wow.
I need the ministry and the meteorology services to come through and help us with those so the kids can learn. We have our meteorologists, TV there, but they don't have access to these things. So
what happened to this system? How did it deteriorate? It wasn't being maintained?
I have no idea, because during our time they were there, and between then and now I don't think the budgets were ever respected in that regard.
So as a patron, you are knocking on doors. If somebody is listening, what would you like them to do?
I would like them to tell us maybe where to go, first of all, to get access to this, or if it's straight up finances, they should call us in to find out what exactly we need so we can do it at the earliest convenience.
Okay. I happen to know that you had very good results. Tell us about that this year.
Yes.
Bonington Community Junior Secondary School.
The school was number 2 in the country.
Wow.
During our management meetings and with the student meetings, we always say we are an English medium. So we want to be number 1. The pressure is very high, and just the general behavior and attitude of the kids, we want them to know that you don't need a certain environment or money to be the best that you can be. It's just an attitude that you take up, and you can still be in English medium in your own space.
What do you think was a trick to motivate the kids to improve to that level where they're number 2 in the country?
I think exposure, motivation, and trusting that the kids can do it. Because the first time I spoke to the kids, there was one child that wanted to sing, just as an offering in front of the other ones, and it didn't come out well, and they started booing him. Booing, is it him or her? Yeah, they booed him, and I was telling them that in South Africa, the reason why South Africa is so advanced, it's because they are the people of art. They, like for their traditional way, the ladies don't have anything here. It's just makabinyana, and they dance this dance where they kick into the air. Insults, morojano, shame, or that. People need to work together as a group. Make sure that if I'm singing, you support me until I reach my highest note. If I'm designing something at the art class, you support me, both as the teacher and the students, to bring out the best in me. So that's the only way we can win. Botswana these days, it's even rampant on social media. People just bash people for whatever reason. It's so, the atmosphere is just toxic at this point in time. So I'm trying to teach the kids, there's no one who's perfect, and you will not reach the top if you don't go through this process. So the shyness, put it aside. You need to stand in front of people if you're going to be a public speaker. Make those mistakes, and you guys who are receiving those mistakes, receive them with
Humility. Yeah.
And fix them. At the end of the day, we're going to win because this is the process we need to go through.
When you mention South Africa, it pops into my head that they brought us Kwaito, they brought us Amapiano, and I'm thinking, what have we as Botswana brought the world apart from maybe diamonds and tourism?
We are a very cocooned nation. It starts in the home. We don't allow the human being to be human. How similar o kalara miriri wa go to abo iraing. How kata misisi o le ka go tshameka o tshamekela mo mmung wa ga di castle. Maybe you're an architect. I guess it comes out when you are young. So our parenting style, I think, is what limits us from having a crop of generation that explores and puts the basic things more thinking wow aside to explore the rawness of the human being so that we can have quality, because everybody who grows up at some point if you're doing the wrong thing, but we need the rawness of the human nature.
So you think our parenting style needs improvement?
I think so, because if you allow your child at kindergarten to do something they want to do without you judging them, that could help the child to start early. So how mokalemelanta tsameka bolo atamasigo wa go lala tsamekaleng after form 5 a khaogane le wena, and you've wasted 12 years of their life basa practice.
So you must give them exposure, give them an opportunity to be themselves without constantly chastising them.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want us to talk about growth or the scaling of your business. You mentioned that you removed it from a one-woman operation when you were last year to 8, with 8 architects or 8 people and more.
Yeah.
What is the trick, or what is your attitude towards growth and scaling?
Well, with my experience with business, I've seen that you can't do it alone in terms of labor and also in terms of knowledge. We have people like Mr. Mogobe who are offering mentorship services. So I also got myself a mentor who keeps on telling me, Imelda, your business is approaching its 3rd year. Where are we? What are we doing? This is the point where you should be getting this done. You can't still be doing this like this. So I had been probed like that, and I'm doing the exercises as we go. And I'm hoping House of KUMI will be a well-established business like any other business.
House of KUMI?
House of KUMI.
Okay. What does that mean? I think last time you did explain.
House of KUMI is just, I wanted a 4-letter word, and the M-I at the end is Imelda, backward, and the K-U comes from my husband's name, Kumo. So that's how I came up with KUMI.
And one of the things when we're prepping that you mentioned is that you do tenders. Tell us about those tenders and the process involved, because you told me that they can be quite hectic.
Yes, tendering for us interior designers, we have tenders from the government or tenders from private or companies or parastatals or banks. So a bank would say you need to submit a full design, fully quoted for, and we get these tender documents just like anybody else. We buy them, we go back and break it down to submit a booklet fully designed, 3Ds, quotations and everything. So it's a rigorous process that you go through. On a normal day, I would charge you to do that. But as for a tender, you never know if you're going to get it or not.
Some people say that tenders are a waste of time because you spend a lot of money submitting a tender and then you are victimized by corruption. I've had so many businessmen saying that it's not worth it. What is your take?
It used to be worth it, and these days it's not. But as the small guys, what will we do? You just need to keep on designing, and in designing like that, one day you perfect your art, and when there is a leader or somebody who makes decisions, who sees your work, and that you've costed fairly, maybe you will get the job at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And we also use those archives to just add them to our portfolio. It could be a nice design that was never used, and I just put it maybe on my website for people to appreciate my style of designing.
So you use it for marketing purposes?
Yes.
Why do you say that it's no longer worth it? Do you agree with the corruption narrative? Is it not just
really
the perception?
corruption. The processes they use to grade for tendering are the ones also that are throwing people off. Just like when you're hiring, you'd say you want a 5-year experienced company. For construction, you'd say you want a grade D, when I have an OC. So just when you started also with the experience of work that you've done, like you're asking me today, so which big project are you doing? If I don't have a project and my client wants me to show them that project, I don't have it. So I can only say trust me, and if they can't trust me, I don't get the job.
Okay. And in terms of those designs, sometimes you need partnerships, and I've seen that partnerships sometimes can help. Are there any partnerships that you are considering or that you are involved in?
Yes, for us interior designers, we work with architects, and we sometimes do consortiums depending on the nature of requests from the client. So I do have architects that approach me and those that I approach to work together in certain projects.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your plans going forward. By that I mean short, medium, and long term. What's in the pipeline?
Well, like I said last time, Imelda is a community person. I work a lot with community, schools, students, youth, and then I also run a business, a private business. So my thing is to see my business grown and giving opportunities to children that are just coming out fresh out of the industry. Like right now, companies like Deloitte, all these big companies, BTC, they only poach students that have done very well when they graduated. But what about the child who tried all they could? They're not that good.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, but because of their circumstances, they didn't do well at school. Who's giving them an opportunity? Right now, I'm dealing with a case like that. A student was crying. Its internship started in, I think, January or February. He hasn't been posted. And when I look at his portfolio, I see that I also don't want him. So what do we do?
Yeah.
Do we just scrape him up, like to the side, or I don't have time to be teaching, and I'm growing a company, so I'm torn to say, like, how do we help such students? So I work a lot on proposals to the government or private companies to also have KUMI in the side of the community part, helping people like that and broadly. But as a company, I want to be doing 10 key projects, taking a project from the ground up and giving the client keys in terms of manufacturing, sourcing, of course, things that we can't find locally, we would have to buy. But whatever I can do for my projects, I would want to do them in-house. That's the only way I can make more profit as an interior designer.
Okay. Let's talk about your midterm plans. What can you share there?
With
midterm is 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. We want to be going into the education sector, having master classes, interior design courses, accredited, and just educating. So we grow the...
Is it like a school within your institution, of school of sorts?
Sort of. Because a lot of people approach me on LinkedIn, even those outside of Botswana, to ask if I'm teaching interior design, and I'm saying no. So if you could have a course that runs, it would assist a lot of people who are inquiring about it.
Okay. Then long term, by that I mean 10, 15, 20 years.
Just how far can interior design go? We want to spread internationally if that's it is possible. We just need to grow our finances to be able to support our satellite offices and be able to go out for projects. We do get approached, but because of our scale, sometimes we...
Okay. All right. Women in business, are there any special challenges associated with that?
Just like the corruption corridors, when you're a woman like me and you walk into a space, you have these guys who think they own they own you and they want to do whatever they want to do with you, and you are not that kind of person. So you need to be dealing with them while you are still keeping it professional and making sure you're not losing a client.
What do you mean?
What is it called?
Harassment, sexual harassment?
Yes.
Oh. Is there a lot of that?
For women?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what's the proper way to deal with it?
The proper way is to be straightforward from the word beginning. Don't entertain or string along so that you can get business. Just be open to say, it's either we work together or we stop here. So you have people that don't want to listen when you tell them your boundaries. So you need to either walk away from the business or...
And is it not something that the law can be involved in?
Sometimes it's big people that are the law to the law. So even if you take it anyway, it doesn't go anywhere.
The proper response is to walk away.
Yes, you weigh your options and see, will I win at the end of the day? If not, if you're able to fight as well, taking, you are now including lawyers, it's your word against, it just
But on the
messy.
positive side, aren't there some advantages associated with that when it comes to tendering, in terms of weighing those tenders and so on?
Definitely. So there are some processes that favor us women when you are a youth, when you are a woman, and when you are in the rural areas. I used to be based in Lia, Pilani, and that helped me because you have points for being in a village, being a woman, and there are some tenders that I won because of being a woman and being a youth.
Okay. And then, of course, in your LinkedIn profile, you mentioned that not only are you an interior designer, you are a transformational coach. Tell us about that aspect of your life.
Transformational, we all tend to become motivational speakers when we are on social media behind the keyboard. So for me, I speak directly to kids as the patron. So I meet kids who have various challenges, and I speak to them in groups and individuals to say, okay, you are at 0 or you are at negative. What you are right now is not what we want to see 10 years from now. So I take them on that journey of saying, look, if you start doing this now, you could be here at this point in time. So I teach success in the human being holistically.
Okay. So when are the classes being held? And if someone is listening, how can they become a part of that?
We don't have scheduled classes at the moment. I offer it to junior schools upon invitations, and kids that have finished Form 5 or that are in varsity currently who are struggling to get their life in order. So they could just reach out to me with a message and make an appointment to see what we can work out.
Okay. Is there a special key that you notice that people are lacking when it comes to success, that you emphasize on when you teach?
Yes, there are a few things that I pick up. First of all, there's a lot actually.
Go ahead.
What makes you as Mr. Mogobe? There are religious things that you do that make you who you are, and I can guess some of them. You spend a lot of time, you either don't drink at all,
stopped drinking ages ago.
Yes, so alcohol is one of the main distractions that take away your time and mind to focus on even if you have plans. If you drink tonight, you're not going to be thinking about your life or your business or your family. You're going to just you've taken a sleeping pill. So alcohol takes away a chunk of people's attention and what do you call it? Yeah, attention. Focus, yes. Number 2, if you are not a person who's into reading, studying, research, you can never be successful. That's a given. So you need... I don't read. Mogobe will never sit down with you to tell you everything about life. So you better go and get his book or go to his podcast. So these materials, you need to be sucking all that information, and it needs secluded time. You make time to learn. And then successful people also, they are healthy. They gym. Whether you are a primary school student or a lecturer, a stay-at-home mom, you will not function at your peak if your hormonal levels are all mixed up. We are taught about the happy hormone. It's the first thing you need to activate. What is that?
Cortisol. Cortisol or?
Yeah, cortisol. I'm not a doctor, but I just know that there's a happy hormone.
Yeah,
and
it could be, yeah.
Reading books and listening to other people, I've learned that the first thing I do in the morning is to do some exercise to wake up the body and the brain. Because I am you're going to find a very angry person when I wake up. So in the morning, I'm like that. For me to kickstart my day, I actively have to exercise. And I think it applies to 90% of people. Exercise, eat right, study, financial management and education. They are those blocks that make people successful. We have people that are retiring right now. They have no clue about money management, and they've been getting a salary every month. Even as business people, if you do this for 5-10 years, it's a recipe for disaster. So you need to stop.
Especially if you're not developing personally.
You need to stop at some point and have someone with an overall view of life guide and pinpoint these things out.
So have you been trained formally as a coach, or have you trained yourself?
I've trained myself.
How?
I saw that.
How did you go about that?
With the way I've grown up, my challenges made me to question a lot of things. So I was wondering, why am I like this? Where I'm coming from? Why is it like this? So it got me to that point to make up a board or a process that will have me get out of where I am to where I want to be. So it's my own personal You're
also a transformational speaker. So can you give us highlights of where you've spoken and what is it that you speak on?
Well, I haven't done it professionally yet. Like I'm saying, I'm working with children right now. I've started with myself. My entrepreneurial journey is only 3-4 years old. So during this time, I had to build myself because I didn't start like this. It was very complicated at the beginning. Me seeing myself not getting the results or being the person I wanted to be. So I had to transform myself. Now I'm I'm writing a book for the child to say, at primary school, if my parents are oblivious to building me up into a responsible person, I can grab this book and it will guide the child as to life outside of school. What should I be looking out for? And so I haven't gotten the professional side of it sorted. It's just me and the kids right now. And then maybe a book. That's when maybe we'll go
go further. Yeah. Aspiring philanthropist, we've covered that. And then there's an organization called Pan-African Game Changer, which we touched on. Can you go deeper on this organization? Who formed it? What is it about? What are its objectives?
Pan-African Game Changers, PAGC, is a Botswana-based organization. It was founded by Mrs. Precious Gondwe, and it's a group of ladies that that are game changers. We do not just sit around. We meet. We each other. What do you call that?
Yeah, encourage each other.
We encourage each other. We have Bible sessions on the group, WhatsApp groups. We have conferences. We have picnics.
Conferences where?
First of all, PGAC is international. So there is the Malawi chapter, there is the South African chapter, there is the Botswana chapter. So in our individual countries, we have conferences like this coming month, April, I think we're going to have a first conference of the year where we invite other strong women to come and talk to the ladies. Like we have kids who finished Form 5 who are at varsity as entrepreneurs and various people in this PAGC. So we speak to the girl child about abuse in the office, having a boss who doesn't see you as a human being, just everyday social issues. We speak to them about these things and how to handle them. We teach them about being holistic. The holistic game changer is our theme for this year. So PEG is just that environment where we support another woman or sister into being, not falling apart. And if they are doing something, they should do it like very well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you hold an office or a position in the organization?
I'm in the strategic team at the moment.
Which means you do what? You strategize.
I strategize like the route the organization should be taking, and if there are problems of non-participation, people fighting or something, we like from the top discuss those issues as to how they should be handled.
And any significant accomplishments so far for the organization?
For the organization, we have a lot of awards, which I can't get from the top of my head. People can visit our page. We have social media pages, the PAGC on Instagram.
Awards for what? For meritorious service or whatever?
Yes. We have Facebook and we have LinkedIn as well. And we have adopted schools, we have adopted communities. So we go out to do a lot of projects. So they should just look out for our activities throughout the year.
Okay. Sounds like an interesting organization, but are you excluding men?
Not really. We actually spoke about that issue this year, that there are men who, when we advertise these things, they will be asking, is it only for women? How would you feel as Mr. Mogobe to have a leader, Imelda, telling you what to do or suggesting things to you as a man? So we feel a little bit uncomfortable. There is...
Well, you can be unashamedly a women's group and say, no, we don't take men. There's nothing wrong with that.
Then they say we are feminists again. So there was a PAGC men. I'm not sure if it's coming up or it's dying down, but they will advise.
Okay.
Because we do need men to encourage each other to do good. A lot of the times I would call you to say, I have a party. Let's go and spend money and be shameless and do this. But why don't I call you to say, okay, we are doing toilets kumukobani. Do we have 100 pula to spare? Or something.
No, the reason why I was asking for significant accomplishments because of the name, Game Changers. I wanted to see whether you've actually got one or two situations where you changed the game and actually gave someone an award or something for doing something out of this world or something significant.
Yeah, that's actually a point. I'll take that back for awards. But just remembering again, we normally go to schools to give children pads, shoes. We go to Marina to give the children's ward, like newborn baby clothes for mothers who cannot afford. So we've been doing those small projects, but with your advice, we can always do better.
Okay. There was something I wanted to ask you about a university which is not Limconqueen, Amity University, Madhya Pradesh. I wanted to know what that means.
Amity, once I was an interior designer and I wanted to do a course on the side. They were partnering with Bokodol at some point, and the government was sponsoring students who couldn't afford to pay their own tuition business management course. So I enrolled, and Amity was the incoming university providing material. So I did a diploma in business management at Bokodol with Amity. So when I finished my diploma, we had a convocation, and I saw...
What is a convocation? Like a graduation?
It was not a graduation, just interaction. Graduations, they normally, you have to fly to India to graduate, but the local students met.
We'll go with convocation.
And their testimonies just blew me away. Government officials, they would say, okay, I did my master's at Amity, now my salary has increased, or I have a better post. So I said, okay, why don't I, because it's online, let me do a degree in communications, because I have a company and I would like to know how to PR it. When I was my own, like all in one, PR, marketing, I need to do press releases and all of that. So I did mass communication and journalism.
At Amity.
At Amity. So I just finished my last semester. I'll be finishing this April. So I'm hoping to get my degree in communications.
Wow. Congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
I'm sure you will. All right. Do you want to ask me a question? Here's your chance if you have one question for me.
Well, Mr. Mogobe is an entrepreneur who is very active in the podcast environment. People have been asking you what led to you starting this podcast. I don't have a question. I just want to commend you on the growth I've seen since last time. You are very resilient and consistent, and I feel if there was an award in this field,
I'll take it from your organization, Pan-African Game Changers.
Okay, hey. So I'll make arrangements for that. You are a pioneer and an authority in this space. We are learning a lot from you, and I've been wanting to start one since 3 years now, and it's just then. So I'm learning a lot from you, so you are an inspiration.
Thank you very much. Just a matter of doing it, really. I mean, Nike was correct. Just do it.
Just do it, yes.
As we conclude our conversation, just look at that camera and share one or two inspirational words as we wrap up.
Inspirational.
Directed at the viewer.
Yes, okay. Inspiration comes and goes. So in life, you just need to wake up and do what you need to do. Other things will follow. So if you wait for somebody to come and inspire you, wait for that perfect time, it will never be there. So make a plan, go and do it, and take it from there.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now share with the viewer, share with us all your contact details and on social media as well.
Okay. Well, my name is Imelda Morupule on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Instagram my name is Covergirl.
Covergirl.
Yes. Twitter is also Imelda Morupule, as well as TikTok. And my numbers are 71796657. This number, you can use it for both WhatsApp and calls.
Okay. All right. I'm so thankful that you made yourself available for the second time. And we'll invite you again maybe after a year.
Thank you.
To discuss new developments.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.